so we're clear, if I'm a little bit, if I'm a little hard on the guy, right, and he saw this, you started it, dude. If you say, F that mother effer, that's fine. You can say whatever you want. You'll never hear us complain. You'll never see us tell on you. None of that. You say whatever you want. But you've sacrificed your right to complain if people mock you mercilessly, which is exactly what has happened and will continue to happen. You started it. You said nastier stuff than anybody else. And if you really examine your position, which is, why isn't anyone sanctioning Dana White or Sean Strickland? You're no different than a tattletale at a high school or a middle school. You are a tattletale kid. Jesse on Fire was vaping in the bathroom. And then you come back and try to hang out. It's like, dude, you're not in our crew anymore, guy. Go hang out with the band geeks, you narc. You are one of those guys. And it infuriates you that there's no one for you to go tell on Dana to, because that's all you guys ever do. You guys go on Twitter with your little Twitter army and you tag the CEO of whatever company had someone say something that you didn't like, and you demand that they get sanctioned. And these big companies, they panic, and then boom, they punish the person. That's how you guys wield your woke power. Well, Dana doesn't have a boss, and there's nothing you can do about it. You go to Disney. I demand that Disney sanction Dana. Dana's not owned by Disney. They just distribute their content through ESPN. You think that that's someone you could tattletale to? You just look like a joke. It's infuriating to you that there is someone that disagrees with you that does not have a boss that you can complain to. You are no better than a tattletale in 6th grade. Guess what, guys? Culture war is over. These guys, these guys that we've been talking about for the last few days since Sean Strickland went on his tirade, they got him. They got Dana White because Dana White 10 years ago suspended a fighter for anti-trans talk. I completely disagree with his decision, for the record. But it actually gives us the opportunity to talk about a lot of very important topics related to why things have changed so much in the last 10 years in the exact opposite direction of how these guys would like them to be. It's like, oh, well, do you think that it's because so much speech was allowed? Or do you think that when you push too hard, things go the opposite way that you would hope? You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that, and then I will tell you the details of why Dana suspended the fighter that he suspended over anti-trans stuff, because it's over an incident that we all know about who pay attention to this issue, which is the most egregious trans person going into a different, biological sport and then inflicting serious damage upon their opponent. And you're not going to believe who brought this to my forefront. It's this guy, Michael Ryan Ruiz. Guys, remember this guy? We're talking about him. He's the guy, all right? He's the guy that posted this, and so we're going to get right into it. Now, if you are a person who believes in free speech and you think that Michael Ryan Ruiz is on the wrong side of history, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel, because so do I. So this guy, that same guy, has now shown that he is not only a bandwagoner of feminism, but he also is all about protecting the trans community. And so much so that he would defend a dude who is 32 years old with 2 children having a revelation that he's actually a girl. And so he becomes a she named Fallon Fox and goes into mixed martial arts, lies on the application and says she was born a woman, lied, said she was born a woman on her application, gets a license to fight, and then fractured a girl's skull. While I was editing this in post-production, I found this article that I think is very notable before we get back to the video that I already recorded, because I wanted to show you the quote that Fallon Fox had about fracturing skulls. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Now, the reason it looks so dirty over there, right there, the reason it looks dirty is because the picture of her after, so like obviously where it says 1994, that was Fallon Fox when she was still a man. And then on the right is, she's a woman. And I think that it might be a little too revealing for the algorithm. So that's why I want to just show you the headline before I hide it and then read you the quote. Fallon Fox MMA, how many skulls has the under fire transgender MMA fighter been accused of breaking? Well, let's find out. All right, let me go ahead and take you down here. And then we will enter back into this section. So let me read this to you, okay? So this says, Fallon Fox, a transgender MMA fighter, has now broken 2 female skulls, a man beating a woman, and named the bravest athlete in 2020. Hate for women is real. That was a tweet that was put out. Fallon Fox responded to this tweet, and here is what Fallon said, okay? This is her response. This is Fallon's response. For the record, I knocked 2 out. One woman's skull was fractured, the other not. And just so you know, I enjoyed it. See, I love smacking up TEFS in the cage who talk transphobic nonsense. It's bliss. So I think, I'm pretty sure, I actually don't know. I thought TERF was, I think TEFS is trans exclusionary feminists or something. But yeah, so the Fallon Fox, the, very controversial, not really that controversial. Anybody with a brain can see what's what. Enjoyed it. She admits she fractured a skull and she enjoyed it. She called it bliss. So this is a really good person for you to be advocating for, Michael Ryan Ruiz. She said she likes breaking the skulls of feminists. That's what she said. And I will continue to say she because I've read the YouTube guidelines. I know them very well. So I don't want to misgender anyone. I hope everyone who watches this understands why I would use that terminology, because I respect the platform that I'm on and I don't bite the hand that feeds me. But if you were in my house, I would probably refer to Fallon Fox not that way ever. So anyway, let's just go ahead and continue with this amazing video now that you know that Fallon Fox enjoyed fracturing the skulls of feminists. Something about 32 years of testosterone seemed to impact how hard she could punch. It's weird, dude. I don't know. Anyway, but so yeah, that same guy, Michael Ryan Ruiz, who wanted to cancel Sean Strickland, cancel the UFC, and have ESPN and Disney chastise them for the things that they said. That same guy has now come out with this as his gotcha against Dana White. Buckle up, guys. So actually, let's start here. He says, I agree with Dana White's post-fight comments regarding Fallon Fox. This hurt my soul. I'm not going to lie. It hurts. This hurts, dude. This really does hurt. But I am going to defend Dana because they were in a very different situation then. Just let's watch it and then, oh God, this hurts. All right, so let's just watch it real quick and then we'll talk about it. All right. Go, Dana, go.
Democracy.
Work at any company anywhere in America and go out and say ignorant, stupid stuff publicly. Even on top of that, say it publicly in a big, place where people can go read it or hear it publicly and see what happens to you. There's a way to voice your opinion without sounding like a bigot.
Now, the comments that Dana is talking about that led to the suspension of Matt Mitrione were along the, I'm actually just going to quote him directly. He called someone a sick, lying, disgusting, sociopathic freak. Okay? A specific person. And that person happened to be a trans fighter who was fighting against girls, who had been a man for 31 years and then transitioned, named himself Fallon Fox, and then broke a girl's skull in a cage fight. Okay? So that is what happened. He called them a lying, sick, sociopathic, disgusting freak. That's an exact quote. All right? Now, I would never say a thing like that about anybody publicly. That's not a nice thing to say. When I look at this thing, what I think is, so what category would you put a person in that would lie on their application pretending they were never a man so that they could get a license to fight against women and then go crush a girl's skull? And publicly said that she loved it. Bliss, in fact, crushing their skull. After having lied about having 31 years of testosterone. Like, what would you do with that? I'd be like, I mean, are you serious? And you know exactly what I'd do. I am very inclusive. I would be like, do you want to babysit my kids? I have 3 daughters. When I hear a person who was a man for 31 years, transitioned to be a woman and immediately wanted to become a cage fighter and then went and crushed someone's skull, I think, let's put that person around my kids. That sounds like a totally mentally sound thing to do, right? We need to be inclusive. You guys want to be inclusive in cage fighting, right? If someone's skull gets crushed, it's just collateral damage for inclusivity. And I need a babysitter, and I don't want to be non-inclusive. So I would like to get someone who transitioned to be a female, and first thing they wanted to do is go break girls' skulls. That sounds like a person I want in my house taking care of my children. I don't know about you guys, but that's for sure what I want. Fallon Fox, if you're still around, hit me up, because I would love for you to be a really strong influence on my children. Not. Hey, Michael Ryan Ruiz, you ever think past like stage one, just like all of your little compadres? Is there any nuance to any of your thinking? You know what I mean? Like literally, you look at this, he's like, he posted this and goes, the UFC progressive leaders in fighting transphobia and hate speech. Boo, 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 boo. I think one of these guys commented back, people are allowed to change, about Dana's position on this. And Michael Ryan Ruiz said, people are allowed to change, so you're pro-gender reassignment? Woo! Oh, good one, Michael Ryan Ruiz. Wow. I figure out ways to make fun of you so mercilessly that it lasts 41 minutes. And you hear the word change about Dana White, and you go, change? I guess you're pro-gender reassignment. Boom, boom, boom. That's how the woke joke. That is how we joke. We got the jokes for days, son. Tell me that's not a good... Hey, you in the back. You with the purple hair. Give me an air 5. Air 5. That one was good, right? You with the red and white hair. High 5. That's no. You. Well, you too with the red and white hair. Both you guys. You guys look, come on. Air 10. Oh, man. Who says the left can't joke? That's funny. No, that's not funny. That is a huge stretch, and it's dumb. He says UFC, progressive leaders in fighting transphobia and hate speech. I agree with Dana. I mean, come on, dude. Listen, I will say, though, if it were me, I would probably post this, too, if I was a woke person that was hysterically angry about Dana not, hammering Sean for the comments this weekend. So now we get to the portion of the video where we get to talk about what changed. Why what Dana did back then didn't set off a bunch of alarms with people like me back then, and would have, obviously, if it happened like today, right? So here's what I would say, right? Every progressive movement, anyone that would call themselves a progressive, is trying to progress things in a certain direction, right? Like in your case, Michael Ryan Ruiz, you would love it if men got back in the kitchen so that women could focus on their careers. Women, it's time for them to take over. There's no reason for men to be doing anything other than cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, and begging their wife for sexual favors, which they never, ever get because they don't deserve them, because feminism. You will lay on the bed on your back, Viagra in hand in case it doesn't work, so that it's ready when she wants it. You never get to dictate what happens in that room because of Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein showed us that men cannot be trusted to initiate things like that. You are going to be a shining example of the post-patriarchy world where you are a slave to whatever a girl wants. That's what safety looks like. That's what the anti-misogyny looks like. Get with the times. You want to progress to there. Now, I would be like, listen, man, I think it's better if people like Harvey Weinstein go to jail, since everyone agrees with that, and he was committing horrendous crimes, disgusting crimes that he should pay with his life for. Sit in jail until you decrepitly wither away into nothing. And your name is only remembered as one of the most prolific, disgusting sexual assaulters in history. Like that's how like a rational person thinks. It's like do you think that Harvey Weinstein represents some kind of completely normal thing that regular folks do? Like, you think that I would ever do anything like that? You think I would ever cross it? You think that because I think Sean Strickland has the right to speak his mind, that means I sign off on things like that? No. Do you think that that means that, you know what? I just can't. Anyway, but so progressive movements, though, here's the problem with your progressive movement and why you find yourself in a situation where people are being allowed to say things like that you don't like, even if they might not have been allowed to say them 10 years ago. It's because you need to set a goal, and when you reach said goal, which is a reasonable one, don't go too far. Don't push too far, dude. Because as soon as you do that, what's going to happen is there's going to be a rebound effect, and it's going to go backwards way harder than you would like. So if I was going to use this particular topic as an example, I would say, I think it's totally reasonable for there to be some form of education so that kids understand that in incredibly rare cases, like is reality, some people suffer from a thing called gender dysphoria. And in many cases, that is like the only thing that makes them any different than other people. And so it's very rare, but if you do run into someone like that, don't treat them different. Just act like they're the same as everybody else, because they might be exactly the same as everyone else, except for the fact that you might be able to tell they're a biological male wearing a wig and a dress. Don't treat them bad. Don't treat anyone bad. Like, that would be totally reasonable, you know? But if you were like, no, that's not going far enough. What we need to do is we need to fully reevaluate the way that society works. We need to teach every child that it's their responsibility to pick their gender. You're like, pick their gender? What are you talking about? Well, they need to pick their gender because we need to build society around, acceptance. How is that building society around acceptance? Well, how are the people who have it supposed to feel comfortable? I think we just talked about that. We said that, like, in the tiny, minuscule percentage of people that have that, you just teach people it's just wrong to treat people bad for any reason, especially something that seems to be out of their control. Nope, that's not going to work for our side. We need to teach everyone that they can be the same as them if they would want to. Oh, so we're just going to make it totally normal, like just people, having surgery to switch genders because that's just as normal as getting married and having a family. Not, it's just normal now. That's correct. And you're going to teach that to kids who are like 5 years old. That's right. See, now, no. See, now you're talking about our kids, dude. No one's going to teach my kids that. That's just not going to happen. That's not a thing that's going to happen. Okay? Oh, so you're one of these don't say gay bill guys? Don't say gay bill. Bigot. I bet you supported what Ron DeSantis did in Florida. Oh, you mean the bill that literally just said no sex ed talk in public schools for kids that are 7 years old and under? There's a total bill. No sex ed for public school teachers for children under 8 years old. That's what that bill said. You wouldn't know that, Michael Ryan Ruiz. I'm sure that you think that bill said homosexuals are going to be rounded up, put in camps, and executed. No. Nope. It just said public school teachers not teaching sex ed to 7-year-olds. Okay? That's what it said. You wouldn't know, though. Right? You wouldn't know. Oh, but what about the language about the high schools? Huh? It's a setup to root out the gays and put them into canisters and send them out to sea. Oh, you mean the one line that said even in schools up to 12th grade, inappropriate sexual education is not allowed? You remember that? Like, well, yeah, who deems what's inappropriate? Seems like a setup for people to say that anything homosexual is inappropriate so that you can root them out and get them out of there. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a little bit of a stretch. So what you would like to have in there, since you can only write the bill in one way, is teachers are allowed to teach inappropriate sexual education to children up to 12th grade, since that's the opposite, right? They said don't teach any inappropriate sexual stuff to kids up to 12th grade. You say, nope, we should definitely teach inappropriate things in the sexual realm to kids up to 12th grade. I know if you're seeing this for the first time, like this is probably going to sound like it's not accurate information since I know what you think about everything, but I would challenge you to read the bill. It's probably one of the only bills that you have the patience to read since it's 1 page long. Would have taken a really long time for you and all your compadres to just read the bill as opposed to just going, oh my God, don't say gay bill. I mean, come on, man. Just do a little research for God's sake. But anyway, so yeah, like, if all of a sudden a movement's doing that and then you guys, take over all the social media platforms and you normalize it to kick people off if they misgender a person, or if they say, for an example, someone got kicked off Twitter for saying men aren't women. They said the words men aren't women and got kicked off the platform. Probably sounds like progress to you, But to people like me with a brain and people like Dana White with a brain, people are like, oh, wow, they have completely lost the plot. Like they've lost their minds. And so we need to fight back because where this goes is 100 times scarier than Sean Strickland having some ideas that you might not agree with speaking into a microphone. And Dana White is in a position of influence, so he can actually influence those things. And so he's like, I have an idea. How about freedom of speech? And you can take your ideas and you can go shove them wherever you want. But you'll probably like it if it goes where I was thinking it was go. I was saying it like, you shove it. And you're like, I will. I absolutely will. Whoa. All right, well then throw it in the trash. Nope, you already said shove it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to shove it. All right, so shove it. You know where I mean, right? I mean, I know where I think you mean. Well, it is where it's going. Why don't you do it? Nope, I'm going to let you do that yourself. You go ahead and do whatever you want, dude. You can do whatever you like. So yeah, you push too hard and guess what happens? That, okay? We have gone way over any kind of reasonable approach to this stuff, right? Why is Sean Strickland even talking about gender reassignment? Why would that be on his radar? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that that's even on Sean Strickland's radar means you pushed way too hard, guy. Okay? That's why. But man, and even though it's 10 years old, that video hurts because Dana is my guy, dude. Dana's my guy. 10 years ago, that probably would have been a nothing burger to me. Honestly, like I would have seen that. I probably did see that 10 years ago. Of course I did. Didn't even, I mean, that's the thing that actually is a good takeaway from this is I don't miss anything in mixed martial arts. Matt Mitrione, I love that guy. I loved watching Matt Mitrione fight. I thought he was one of the most underrated, super fun guys to watch fight ever. He was super light on his feet. He fought exactly like Alexander Emelianenko in, Pride and all that. I loved those guys. So I always watch Mitrione. So him getting suspended for that, for sure I saw it. And I don't remember it because it was not that big of a deal at all. Because who cares back then? This being a big deal now is your fault, not ours, dude. You guys did this. So. Oh, boy. Bitcoin price collapsing. Oh, it's terrible. We should buy some. Yeah, so what else is there to say about this? Other than, if that's your big gotcha, if you got to go back 10 years to find Dana doing a gotcha, give me a break. Okay, and here's the other thing, by the way. Here's another pretty important factor when you're talking about why this would have happened. 2014 is pre-acquisition, okay? 2014 is pre-acquisition. Dana had less autonomy then because they wanted to be able to eventually sell the UFC, and the UFC wanted to be presented as a mainstream sport, the same as the NFL and the NHL and all that. So they still had to pretend, that they, whatever, you know what I mean? But now Dana was bought out. I mean, the UFC was bought out by Endeavor, which is clearly an incredibly awesome company, and he's given total autonomy to do whatever he wants, which means that when you come and cry about what he's doing and this and that, the best you got is, why is Disney allowing him to do this? Disney's the distribution platform for this and boo, 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 boo. Why don't you call his boss? Oh, doesn't have one. That's got to taste real bitter to guys like you. You know what I mean? It's got to taste really bitter that there's no boss for you to complain to. Usually when someone says a thing you don't like, you can garner up your little Twitter army and go, we cannot allow this to stand. And they start tagging a company in a million posts, and the company looks all, oh my gosh, we're going to face a boycott. Boo, 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 boo. And then they're like, okay, we got to suspend him, man. Got to suspend him. Yeah, but when it's Dana, he doesn't have a boss. The best you got is go beg Disney. And Disney's like, I don't know if you've been paying attention to our stock price, dude. I think we have enough problems with people saying we're wading into the culture war. There is no way that we are stepping on that landmine. Did you see the Bud Light thing? Did you see the Bud Light protest? Like, did you see what happened to Bud Light? You think that we're going to jump on that hand grenade for you? Sean Strickland say whatever he wants, dude. Sean Strickland say whatever he wants. We don't own UFC. We have nothing to do with that. Don't bring us up compared to this thing. We are not looking to get gutted from the inside like Bud Light did. And speaking of which, time to buy a Bud Light, because they did not say a single thing about this. Nothing. They put their logo right next to Sean Strickland, right next to UFC. Strickland went up and did exactly what he said they were going to do. He was going to do. And Bud Light did not say a word. Time to buy a Bud Light. Dana was right. Let's go. So, Michael Ryan Ruiz, to recap, what makes you so upset is that Dana doesn't have a boss. So you and your cancel culture people have no one to go to cry about why no one is sanctioning Dana and that he doesn't have to answer for anything and yada, 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 because you guys buy a fundamental base salary, base setting. You guys by a fundamental base setting are tattletales. That's what you are, okay? You, sir, are a tattletale. Bottom line, do you think that there's any difference between a kid in 11th grade going up to the teacher and being like, they're throwing spitballs and they're talking during class, and you hearing someone say something you don't like and then into a camera demanding that Disney put sanctions on them? That's tattletale stuff. That's what you are, okay? That's why I keep calling you a pansy. When you think tattletale, do you think guy's guy? What's like one of the most looked down upon things on earth in a group of guys? The tattletale, the little guy that'll rat you out, especially when it has no effect on them whatsoever. You see a guy vape in the bathroom, you're all, I need to go tell the principal. Listen, principal, I would like to have my name kept out of this, but I saw Jesse vaping in the bathroom. Oh my God. Well then, let's go sanction Jesse. And then you go back, you try to hang out with me and my crew. We're like, hey guy, you ratted me out for vaping in the bathroom. You think you still get to hang out? Beat it, nerd. Go hang out with the magic kids, okay? Go hang out with the band geeks, okay? That's your new crew, the band geeks. So I hope it was worth it, band geek. Now here's the only part of that clip that I haven't covered yet, so let's just see how it goes. I actually haven't seen the first 2 minutes here. I realized I started it's a long story, but we haven't seen it yet, or I haven't seen it yet, so let's see how it went.
That world saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the enemy. You want to look at the enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
Now, obviously, that's hateful. Obviously, it needs to be denounced. Obviously, it's appalling. But in that audience, Stugatz, that's being trafficked in. Now, I'm not saying it's true of everyone in that audience, but the leader in that sport allows that. The leader in that sport prides himself on everyone can say what they want. There will be no punishments here. And if there are no punishments here, as there would be anywhere else in legitimized sports, then without consequences, you're just allowing the precedent of that continuing. And my guess is, Tony, you can speak to this. My guess is that Dana White will only be upset that he went near the Bud Light stuff, that's the only place that he'll get bothered.
Nope. I think Bud Light wanted him to do that, actually. I think they wanted him to do that so they could win us all back, since when they went the other way, their entire company imploded like never seen in corporate history.
Yeah, Sean Strickland has been using language like this for a long time. It's just he's always kind of been the guy who's 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th ranked, so you don't really hear from him. All of a sudden, his ascension into superstardom with busy beating Israel Adesanya has put him in the limelight where a lot of his words now are getting shown to people across multiple social medias. Like, Sean is the guy that speaks whatever is on his...
I kind of like this guy, so I'm just going to skip him. Hang on. I just want to see the beginning of this dude.
Not that interesting of a topic to me. It's like, how does Dana White allow this? We know where Dana White's politics reside. He's spoken articulately, honestly, on why he allows this stuff. The fact that we played that clip, which I agree, Chris, that's as hateful a clip as I've heard on this show. And I was aware of it, and I saw quotes of it. I wasn't prepared for how I would feel after seeing 2 minutes of it. Fuck that guy. Fuck him. He's a stupid motherfucker who is hateful. And the fact that he's not suspended, where he'd be suspended in any other sport, hell, forget sport. In most companies, that shit would at the very least get you suspended, is an indictment on that company.
There we go. Just validates every way that I think about this. Every time I see it, it is amazing. As mad as he gets watching Strickland is how happy I get watching that, because it just validates every bit of attention that I give it to make sure that people like this guy can never make statements like that without being ridiculed in my circles, because it's important. Because if not, you want to know what happens? More people think this is okay. That's all that happened in the chaos of the last 10 years. That's all that happened. Was it the social media platforms put their fingers on the scale and made it seem like this was the only, if you are outraged, you can only be outraged in one direction, you know? So suck it, suck it, sucky, suck it, suck it. Oh man, I do take pride in the fact that like our side just laughs at you, you know? Like we don't get, I'm not banana shaped. I'm just laughing at you. I'm laughing at your indignity. Oh my goodness gracious. What? Your wife must be so proud. Not. Anyway, that's what I got. I love you guys.